Hello, my name is Carlo DeMaria Jr. I am your mayor here in the city of Everett. This year, Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th, and I'm asking for your vote of confidence and your support. Thank you. My parents came from Avellino, Italy back in the 1960s. A few years later, my brother and I were born. Growing up in Everett, my parents were working all the time, so my brother and I just did the same thing. We took up working. You know, I started with the paper route at probably 7 years old. I was a paper boy at the Whidden Hospital. And from there, as a kid, I worked at Jean's Catering. As a young boy, probably 11 years old in the kitchen. You know, hard work was something that was always, instilled in me from my parents. You know, growing up on Fremont Ave and throughout the city, we were all diverse. Everybody knew each other. It was more home ownership. You know, everybody owned their home and they were renting their home, took a lot of pride in their community. And that's what I miss. You know, that's one of those things I want to bring back. I didn't have no desire to go to school elsewhere, out of the state. You know, I really wanted to commute. I was still working, and then politics just started taking off for me, and weekends got tough. So it was my 21st birthday. My friends took me out. I saw Stacy there with a bunch of friends of mine from just growing up. And that was it. At the age of 24, we ended up getting married. You know, we had our son Carlo a few years later. Then we had Caroline a couple of years after that. And just recently, a couple of years ago, we had Alexandra. You know, I remember knocking on the door up in Glen Hill Ave, and the lady said, "I'm not voting for you." She says, "I'm voting for your wife." So I know a lot of people vote for me for my wife, you know, and for my mother too. I owe a lot to, both of those women. And my brother Carmen, who's, my best friend always growing up. I got lots of my cousins still here in the community, and, my Auntie Jo, who helped me run my businesses that I can't run these days. So I've had some good people in my life to really round me, make me rounder than I am. You know, I'm one of those guys that hates to say no. My parents would say to me, or even my grandparents, try to help as many people as you can. Because if you help them, someday you may be in a position that you may need help, so they won't forget you, So that was kind of like my philosophy. Like, if it was taking a tree down, and I don't forget. If I see someone on the street today, and if they need a tree chopped down, or they need a sidewalk replaced, or they're looking for a job, or the kid needs some housing assistance, I don't forget it. It's just, I may have to see them, but once I see somebody, I know exactly their issues. One of my main issues when I first ran for mayor was the overcrowding issue. I'd go to a house, knock on a door, and see, it was a one family, but it would have 3 mailboxes, 3 or 4 separate meters in the house, multiple names on the mailbox, and I said, "How is this happening?" My office was very instrumental with the municipal lien ordinance, with the state officials and with the mayor of Boston, to get this municipal lien ordinance passed. And so what this ordinance is, it's any violation or infraction, we target it. You have X amount of days to cure the issue. If you don't, we go to court. We end up, fining daily. If you don't pay the fines, they go lien to your property. So eventually, either we own your property or you're going to correct the issue. It's going to take some time. If you think about it, we've finally just kind of implemented this. It took a little time. The chief of police is working hard with this, the chief of fire. They know that this is my key issue. It's been my issue for 4 years. If I can stop that, then we'll get our city back. We just had a recent visioning session in the city hall here, where we brought business owners and some residents came out and just talked about some ideas for our downtown area. Just visioning, how to make it better. If it's awning improvements, lighting improvements, different types of businesses, more parking, more availability to parking, getting better access to parking. Those are things, you need to market your city and sell your city, and that's what I'm trying to do. I brought on a couple of consultants to help me rezone certain areas. We did the Oak Parkway, we just did some rezoning. It's going to go to the planning board for a vote so that we can kind of control the growth. This is definitely a tough economic time, but you can't slow down. You can't say we're not going to apply for grants through MassWorks or through the TIP program or through the Gateway Cities grants. We're going to keep applying for these grants. We're applying for a grant for Beecham Street. We had to come up with a design fee, but we want to do Beecham Street over because we want to retain the jobs down there. The road's in deplorable condition, so we're going to apply for grants. We applied for a grant and we won it down at Air Force Road. This administration applied for the grant. You also have a bike to the sea path. We got the money to take out the rails. I mean, it's still right now nothing there, but the rails are gone. The other communities, Malden just voted $600 and something thousand to build all the crossings for this bike path. So it's moving. It's going from Everett, Malden, Revere, Saugus, Lynn, into Nahant. You know, we're actually calling a meeting now and get all the mayors together, all the planners together, because we need to get design money to get our tip money, because right now we're in jeopardy of maybe not getting that tip money for this bike to the sea path. So we're doing that now. We want that money. We want to be able to people that can drive down to Waters Ave, down to the Air Force Road, get on a bike and go right to Nahant Beach. I mean, I used to do that as a kid, but on the roads, you know, it was dangerous. So there's a vision down there, you know, and I'm not trying to shove it down anyone's throat. It's just a vision that I want to develop this. You can live there, you can work there, and you can play there. That's the vision. So you build these office buildings. You know, now you have all these different business owners down there that would love to go. I want to be ready so when businesses are funded and getting money, they look at this site and say, wow, this is a great site. We call it the River Green site. I'd rather see housing with, you know, with some small restaurants kind of duplicate what's happening in Boston. Most of the costs of your budget are fixed costs, right? I mean, you know, I have the city budget here somewhere. Yeah. So, you know, here's your, you get your city budget. If you look at it, if you really think about it, out of the whole let's say $132 million budget this year, $57 million is the school budget. Okay, total fixed costs, $40 million. Fixed costs. That means retirement of capital. That's $5.5 million. You know, we built all nice new schools. Retirement of long-term debt interest, $2.5 million. What I control here in the city, out of the whole budget, is $35 million. And that's your library, your recreation, human services, your Commission on Disability and Veteran Services, your police, your fire, your DPW, your code enforcement. I mean, that's what the mayor controls. We can't lay off policemen and firemen. Are you going to cut from the veterans, human services, libraries? You know, those services that people, the trash collection, you know, I mean, those things that people, you know, they want their streets clean. They want their trash picked up. They want to be able to go to the library if they want to get a book. You know, if they're in tough times or a senior, they want to go down to human services and see if there's any assistance for heating assistance or food assistance. You know, those things you can't cut. And I applaud the city council. They haven't cut those things. So, you know, that's why my goal is to build infrastructure. In these tough times, keep building infrastructure, making improvements so businesses will move in. I'm going to be one of those guys that always loves this city. You know, no matter if I'm the mayor or not the mayor. I just grew up loving the city. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to turn my back on it. I got some great relationships with people. I think we've been very transparent here in the last 4 years, and I definitely want to run to be elected for the next 2 years. And this is a job that I'd like to do for a while. That I want to make some great accomplishments. I want people to recognize this city is a great city again. We have great sports teams. We have a great school system. We have a lot of pride in those. In our music department, those kids are fabulous. You know, I want our city to be like our music department, be like our band, our string orchestra. They're amazing. You know, so like our football team, keep winning championships. You know, our soccer team, all our teams, the girls, soccer, football. These kids are amazing. So there's a lot of pride in our schools. I want to try to keep those kids in the city. I want them to go to college, come back, and get involved. Because we got a lot of talented young kids going to MIT, going to Harvard, go to Princeton, Merrimack, some great schools, but they're leaving the city of Everett. And I don't want that to happen anymore. I want them to be the ones that are getting on the train, right here and there on the commuter line, the purple line, and going into Boston. And getting involved on committees at the zoning board, the planning board, you know, different conservation committees that we have in the city. I want them involved because they're the new thinkers.
Vote on November 8th for Carlo DeMaria.